All right, let's cut up a watermelon. First thing we want to start with is a good knife. I like to use this knife. It's a serrated knife. Has a nice sharp edge, and it's got a wooden handle, nice and easy to handle. The next thing we need we'll need a dinner plate, and I use a nice plastic cutting board, and of course we need a watermelon, so let me go get the watermelon. Of course, this watermelon is nice and clean. First thing you want to do when you get a watermelon, bring it home, put it in the kitchen sink, and wash it up with soapy water. This is the Cadillac of watermelons. It's a Hermiston, grown in Hermiston, Oregon. Now, another thing we're going to need is a bowl. Because we are going to store the watermelon in the refrigerator just like this. It's going to sit in the bowl nicely. We take it to and from the refrigerator, handles it pretty easily. What we're going to do is, first thing we're going to do is break one of the dishes and bowls. No. We are going to cut off the top of the watermelon. So, okay, we got the top of the watermelon cut off, and we'll cut this up later. So, like I said, we're going to store it in the fridge, just like that, with, just a second, pull this up a little bit, there we go. Then we're going to store it with some plastic wrap on top. Keep it fresh. So, it'll go into the refrigerator just like that. When I take it out of the refrigerator, each time I want to cut up watermelon, I take the plastic wrap off and I just set it aside to put it back on top when it's ready to go back into the fridge. And I turn it upside down onto the dinner plate. And I take the knife and I cut around. Oh, you didn't see that. See, I cut it, I put it right into the watermelon, and I start cutting a disc off the watermelon, turning the plate as I go. My hand is on top of the watermelon as I turn it. Now I've cut through the watermelon and I turn it back over and put it back in the bowl. Put the plastic wrap back on top and take this back to the fridge. Now, for this, I cut it up, cut it in half, and then I cut the rind off. Dispose of the rind. And then I cut it like so into chunks. And I can put the chunks into a bowl and eat them, or put them in a container. You can do this for as much watermelon as you want to cut up and put in the fridge. Of course, some people like to just cut up quarters or eighths and eat it like this. But that's the way I cut up a watermelon. Now, how to cut up the end, because that's a little different. Now, cutting up the end, I like to cut it. Well, I turn it over. You see, this is where the stem came off. So you kind of want to slice on each side of that stem. And then keep slicing until you're left with these little corners. And for the slices, pretty much do what I did before, just cut the rind off. And cut it into chunks. And for the end, you kind of just take the knife on either side and cut out the meat. And see, it comes off, you get the rind, and then you can just cut the meat up into chunks. And that's about it. That's how I cut up a watermelon.